The pressure to always be doing. I think it is there for every one of us. Maybe not all the time, but a good portion of the time, I think we are expected to be doing something, and that taking a rest is a lot of times looked down upon when really it shouldn't be, because rest is our recharge, right? We're like go, go, go all the time, and then vacation comes and we finally get to rest. But what about between vacations? Where do we get to rest so that we can be reminded of every day how much we really enjoy our lives? Welcome to another episode of Permission and Rest in the area of depression. This is our last area of depression. This is redefining productivity, the myth of constant productivity, letting go of the belief that your worth is tied to your output. We live in a world that really does celebrate hustle, multitasking, and endless achievement. And of course, if you think about it, there are a lot of people, me included, that will oftentimes talk about what we are doing and will receive that positive feedback. And so it's just kind of a cycle of how things, society goes with that aspect. But even when you're exhausted, there's this quiet voice saying, you should be doing more. But when you're struggling with depression, that message can become cruel. You start to feel like if you're not producing, you're failing. In this episode, we're going to challenge the myth of constant productivity and explore what it really means to live with purpose instead of pressure. So, how does productivity become a measure of worth for us? Well, from a young age, most of us were praised for what we did, right? Grades, sports, work, not really for who we are. And if you think about it, if you were to ask somebody to compliment you, or maybe one of your kids to compliment a friend, or maybe, a sibling, it really is perhaps more on what they do and more of their outside of them, not necessarily what's on the inside of them, that is really being praised. And so it's, I think, a good idea to start looking at that and how can we praise people for just who they are. That conditioning, it sticks with us. So if you're not achieving, you may feel that you're not valuable. And depression collides with that belief by slowing everything down. It forces us, due to just the nature of depression, to not want to do anything. And that in turn leads to more shame and more guilt because we're not. So suddenly you feel useless or behind. But your worth was never meant to depend on output. You have value simply because you exist. So here's a reframe for you. My productivity doesn't define my worth, my presence does. The burnout loop. Constant productivity leads to chronic burnout. And I'm sure we've heard a lot about chronic burnout or just burnout amongst, I think there's a lot of retreats on it, probably some books on it, some workshops on it, because we tend to get really burnt out as a society. So a burnout is a cycle of doing until we collapse, then guilt for resting, then doing again. And depression sometimes appears after long periods of over-functioning. Your body and mind eventually, they will say enough. Instead of fighting that pause, you can view it as a reset, a chance to rebuild life around sustainable energy instead of exhaustion. And I get, like, we need to hustle, especially if you're building a business or you want to achieve a certain career path. But when we do need to take that rest, or when we do take that weekend to go somewhere, or take a day off for work during the week, that's when our mindset needs to change, that this is okay. I'm doing it because I want to achieve all these things. And in order to achieve all these things, I need a time where I can rest and recharge myself. So here's a gentle reminder. I don't have to earn rest by breaking down. So let's redefine what productivity means. Productivity can mean creating, yes, but it can also mean connecting, resting, or simply being aware. So ask yourself, did I show up for myself today? Did I take one small step toward care? And did I listen to what I needed? Those things count as progress. They are productive for your healing. And that's important, like I said, because if you want to maintain a certain level of existence, hustle, the busyness, your body eventually will wear down if you don't just learn how to take some time to rest. So here's an anchor thought for you. Some days, staying alive is the most productive thing that I can do. Worth beyond doing. The world may tell you that value equals output, but that's a lie. You are not a machine. You are a human being with cycles, needs, and seasons. And in the next episode, we'll explore listening to fatigue without judgment, learning to understand your tiredness as information, not failure. Here's some journal prompts for you. Where did I learn to connect my worth to productivity? What happens inside of me when I'm not doing enough? And write a new definition of productivity that includes rest, reflection, and presence. So until then, take one moment to simply be, not for a goal, not for a result, just to exist. You're already enough. Here's the comment section. Comment anything on this video you like, anything about permission and rest, anything in depression or another heavy feeling or emotion that you may be going through right now. Any hard time in life. Maybe this is a hard season and you want to comment on that. And of course, maybe if you recovered from a hard season or a heavy emotion, or maybe just some of your wins. Everybody loves to celebrate wins as well. So we would love to hear that. If you're having a hard time on figuring out what to comment on this. Or here's a question for you. What does productivity look like for you if you were to add rest days or rest times to your schedule? So if this video resonated with you, take a breath before you go. Let what you heard settle in. Know that you're not alone on this journey, and you definitely don't have to do it all at once. If you're feeling it, like this video so others can find it, or share it to somebody that you think would benefit from the video. Subscribe for new content of every day, of every week. Remember, here we take tiny steps. We do real talk and honest healing. And I have journals and children's books to go right along with these videos. You'll find in the link on the post, there's a link for these. And there's an anxiety journal, self-love, discipline, discovery journal, a beach-themed journal, kids workbook, and a kids book as well. Again, these all are just about building healthier habits, becoming aware of healthier habits that we may not be aware of, or aware of unhealthier habits that we may have, and hopefully help decrease any unhealthy habits as well. And again, I want to thank you for the time to watch this video.